bodybuilding attracts a very selfish kind of lifestyle. A lot of me. It's a lot of
Yeah.
self. So I think as addicts and alcoholics, it can be a beautiful thing, to work on your body, practice restriction, throw your heart into something your path. But for me as an addict alcoholic, I got to be very on guard of too much dang self.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Think Big Bodybuilding Media. I'm Scott McNally, and with me, I am joined by Ari, but you guys probably know him better. Some of you guys, I know you know him. I've been talking to you, asking for questions. I'm with Garage Gym Homie. What's going on, man?
What up? What up? Blessed to be here. Appreciate you having me on, man. I really am fired up about doing the show.
Dude, it's
Yeah,
my pleasure, man. It's interesting because I found your channel a few years ago, just looking through garage, like specifically searching garage gyms
really.
on YouTube. Yeah. And I was like, man, something about this guy. You seemed like somebody I would know. And then I found out you were in recovery. And then I found out that you literally live, like, I don't know how we haven't met in the past. I'm basically, like a couple miles down the road from you. So we'll have to get into all of that. But I've had
Yeah.
a lot of listeners that, they're struggling with their own issues with addiction, and all sorts of stuff, in that regards. Bodybuilding, I think, is, there's a lot of gravitation toward it from people who are like you and me. And they're always asking like, hey, we would love if you could talk more about that stuff. So I thought, number one, I haven't met Garage Gym Homie before. We're literally meeting right now. This is happening right
Yeah.
now. And
Absolutely.
we're just going to talk shop. We're going to talk recovery. We're going to talk bodybuilding, maybe talk some YouTube. I want to hear about his channel, and we'll talk some fun stuff too. But first of all, man, thank you for being here. And tell me a little bit about what you do with YouTube.
So what I do with YouTube is I kind of like to be a one-stop shop for supplement reviews, spirituality, bodybuilding content, healthy living, and addiction recovery. All something people can come to for kind of everything I'm interested in. What my life's about is helping addicts and alcoholics. Practicing a life of restriction, trying to get as close to God as possible, and getting people fired up about, the bodybuilding lifestyle, because I think that has gone hand in hand with a spiritual lifestyle for me,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. It's played a big part in my sobriety. And so I kind of, it's just an avenue, man, to connect with people and kind
Yeah.
of trying my hardest to be, a light to the world.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I've seen the most of the stuff I've seen from you has been a lot of the different reviews you've done, and you're a character, man. If you guys haven't tuned into Garage Gym Homie, like you've got so much energy and personality on camera that stuff shines through. And it's cool that once you have that foundation and people are interested, then it goes that next step. People become interested in you, and people become interested in your life. And it's kind of awesome how you've been able to then help people who may be in rough situations, just showing, that you can live a positive lifestyle, showing that you can do it really.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. I spoke for years at treatment centers, and I don't know if you know about Maple Grove here in
Oh
West
yeah.
Bloomfield.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
spoke there on the first Saturday of every month to the inpatients for over 6 years. I gave them an hour and a half lecture about my journey through the 12 steps, how I recovered from the disease. And when COVID hit, I had no way of speaking. They shut the doors on all the meetings, and the
Mm,
treatment centers closed their doors. And so I was like, man, I just want a way to kind of connect with addicts and alcoholics, and also talk about the stuff that, I was fired up about. And I started building a garage gym when they shut the gyms down during COVID at the same time. I'm like, I could make, some content out of this.
yeah. Yeah.
That's how it started.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I think like I hung out a little bit south of you. My meetings were all like Livonia and then down into Westland. And I used to
Uh-huh.
go, do you ever go over to talk at Oakdale Recovery Center on Michigan Avenue?
I haven't been to that one. No.
You've probably heard of it, I'm guessing. It's,
I've
one
heard
of,
of it. Sure. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I used to go over there to talk sometimes. And
Oh yeah.
it really is something to be able to, I think you'll agree with me here that like what you're doing isn't just helping other people. A big part of being in recovery is helping other people to help yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of, that just naturally happens. It's like I'm not really thinking about that, but yeah, like I
Yeah.
mean, I'm getting, I sponsor, if I sponsor hundreds of addicts and alcoholics, and, most of them aren't staying sober, I am, so it's, it gets me really polished on the literature and the book, not to get too deep into AA or whatever, but
Yeah.
taking other people through it really gives me a deeper meaning, to what I'm doing.
I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. Um,
Yeah.
what made you finally decide that it was that you had enough, that you were just that you like you wanted to change your life? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that have the desire to stop drinking and using drugs, but then actually making the change is the part where a lot of people just don't finally get there, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was in Los Angeles, front ripping and running for like 8 years, man, and I was in deep. I was a heroin and crystal meth IV user, and I was just at the point where I was at the end of the road. I had literally nothing left for me out there. I was in and out of the hospitals. There was staph infections, and
Oh,
in and out of jail and prison. And I mean, there was, it was just at the point where something kind of came in my life. Looking back, I know what it is now, but something was there that just gave me that ready to be done for good and willing to do whatever it takes at a certain point where I just had literally nothing left, and the stars just aligned, and my brother brought me back home, and I just threw my heart, man, into the 12-step program and never looked back. I just knew deep down in my heart that I was done for good, man. None of that one day at a time. I was done for good. I knew I was just done, man, and ready to never look back.
no kidding, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You know, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate you had to take it to the level you did, you know, but the reality is that nobody can stop us till we're ready, right?
100%. Yeah, there's nothing getting in the way of me getting high. So I'm blessed we walked that path together, man. That's awesome because like I know, not many people make it.
Yeah.
So very few make it out. I sponsor 200 addicts, alcoholics. Maybe I'll get to see 10 of them sponsor other people. So.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is cool. And the whole thing about the way I see it is helping other people. I see it as the disease, and because I believe addiction is a disease,
Mhm.
that I believe that it's pure selfishness, you know, that at the root of it, the only person I'm really thinking about is me. And so helping other people, be it through like teaching somebody how to train or getting them pumped up. Like I watch your videos, man, I'm pumped up to work out, you know, and that's what
Heck
I try
yeah.
to encourage too, you know. And
Yeah.
if you can instill some kind of positivity into somebody else's life, you know, you're doing something that is helping them. But that's what I mean by like helping you too, by getting outside of yourself and doing something for someone else, you know.
Oh, it certainly is. It's funny you talk about the selfishness because just to connect it with what you were saying earlier about a lot of our people are in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding attracts a very selfish kind of lifestyle. A lot of me. It's a lot of
Yeah.
self. So I think as addicts and alcoholics, it can be a beautiful thing, to work on your body, practice restriction, throw your heart into something your path. But for me as an addict alcoholic, I got to be very on guard of too much dang self.
Yeah.
It's important. I talk about that in my content. We got to be careful. People say, well, why don't you compete? Why don't you compete? I'm like, I'm already really way too into myself. I don't need any more self. It's like, so I've never gone there, but I'm not saying it's bad to compete. But for me, I got to like really be on guard for what you're talking about, selfishness.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Hmm.
how do you find that balance today? Because I know exactly what you're talking about. I can agree 100%, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm supposed to be watching for selfishness, like dishonesty, resentment, fear, all the things, that I'm supposed to be on guard for. And I got to treat them as they come in. And I think that deep down in my heart, if I'm really living the 12-step program and continuing to get close to God and growing spiritually and throwing my heart and soul into helping others, then there's nothing wrong, man, with being a bodybuilder, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and I like how you're pointing out. It's not like you're saying, "Oh man," I start feeling tempted, like I'm going to go out and pick something up. That's not what you're talking about at all. Like these are the things that
No.
come way before that, right?
I'm just taught, yeah, that the obsession's removed, obviously that I'm a recovered addict, that's gone. But if I don't watch for all that craziness in my head, one day
Yeah,
it could possibly return, if I'm not treating those things as they come in.
yeah,
So it's like, yeah, I'm recovered, but I'm not cured. So my head's still noisy and still insane, so I got to constantly be treating it.
yeah, yeah. I can totally relate to that, man. I did compete, but I actually when I tried to just stop using drugs and white knuckle it for like 2 years.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I just poured myself into bodybuilding. And that's when I got super passionate about it. And it worked
Uh-huh.
really good, meaning I wasn't happy. You know what I mean? I was miserable and I was getting big, but then I hurt my back and I had to go to the
Wow.
hospital. And the first thing they said, they were like, hey, you're a big guy. You're going to need more pain meds than the average people do. And I was like, and I had myself tricked at the time because I was like, you know what? You're probably right. I am a big guy. I probably do need more pain meds. And guess
Yeah.
what? I was like right back off to the races. Like nothing had changed because like I didn't work on anything. You know what I mean? I
Oh,
literally
you were
was
sober 2 years and then went back, you're
yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
sober for two
interesting. Yeah.
years, just like
Yeah.
poured myself into bodybuilding, built myself up, looked like a different human being. And then
Yeah.
guess what? I didn't change. I didn't work on anything. I was still just as selfish, I still had the insanity inside of me. I just put it into something else until I couldn't anymore. And then I was reminded
Yeah.
of how much I liked using drugs. And then it was literally like I was right back there again. So it's amazing, man, that you've been able to, you made that decision and you were truly done. And how long have you been clean and sober for now?
January 26th, I'll be celebrating 10 years, man.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Over a
Congratulations, man.
few months, man. Yeah. But, God willing, I make it to then. I can't freaking believe it. I mean, I just can't believe it, man. I couldn't make it 10 dang minutes without, putting the dang needle in my arm or it was just like 10 years. I don't know where the time's gone, man. It's
That's
just
so cool,
insane.
man.
How
I'm
about
at
yourself?
I'm at 16. I'll be 16 in November. So I'm just
16
around the
years.
corner now. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. God bless, man. Huge nobody does that, man. Huge
Well, thank
congratulations.
you. And let me ask you,
Yeah.
like, would you have ever been able to be where you are today? Like with your life, you've got a good job, you've got your YouTube channel, you're helping other people. Like, could you have ever pulled any of this together without having first gotten into recovery?
When you say recover, are you referring to like the AA program, the 12
Yeah, like
step
stopping
program?
using, like, stop making the decision to stop using and changing your life. Like,
Oh
you know
man,
what I
I would
mean?
no, heck no, no, no. I'd be dead, man. I mean, I already been to prison a couple times, and I had been to 20 rehabs. I had nothing left, man. I mean, there was no. Forget this. I couldn't even be alive. I mean, this is
Yeah.
beyond anything I've ever dreamed of. What I have now, when I thought I'd get sober, I just wanted to not get high. I didn't realize life with a spiritual life could be this amazing. I
Yeah.
had no idea. Yeah.
So, hey,
Hmm.
tell me a little bit about your training. Like, what do your workouts look like? I want to talk a little bodybuilding in here too.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, now they're all in my garage. Unless I'm on vacation, I don't miss the public gyms at all. I was willing to sacrifice a lot of equipment for some peace in my life.
where
And
where did you train before everything shut down?
So I used to train Powerhouse Novi,
Oh, you're kidding
Powerhouse
me, man.
Southfield. Yeah, I used a lot of competitors over there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like my jam. Novi, and then before that, Farmington Hills. Before that closed down, if you remember that
Yeah.
from decades ago now.
All over on Halstead.
Yep, yep,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, my brother was a trainer for years at Orchard Fitness, which was the powerhouse West Bloomfield. So I
yep.
trained there, LA Fitness Southfield. I've been all around this area here,
So there
so
was probably days you literally had to be like walking out as I was walking in. I've
I'm
probably seen
sure,
you before.
man.
You know what I
I
mean?
see you follow people and people follow you that I know from the area. I noticed, so I mean, we got to know the same people, some of them. So, but my training now, I'm pumping iron 5 days a week, and I'm doing cardio 5 days a week now. So I'm working out twice a day. I split up the cardio and the weights, and I'm just kind of doing a bro split right now, man.
Okay.
Hitting one muscle group a week, and I'm pretty basic, man. I kind of torch it down, like I did. Shoulders this morning, man. I did like 36 dang sets,
Oh God, man,
So
you're high
yeah,
volume
yeah,
then, huh?
yeah. I do some high volume. Sometimes I hit the weight, but I don't go crazy with the heavy weight.
Yeah.
I mean, what I would tell you is heavyweight to me is laughable to most people. I mean, really, I'm just scared to get injured now. I just want to feel good and really keep up the intensity of the training. Has been really works for me. And I know there's all sorts of science here, science there about how I could make better gains and all this, but I just enjoy what I've been doing, for the
Hey,
time.
well, I'll tell you, my friend, good friend of mine, Scott Stevenson, he pointed out to me and taught me a few years back that the most important part of a good training plan is it's one that you enjoy.
Yeah,
Because like I could tell you, like, oh no, dude, you're doing it all wrong. You got to do this and this and this. But if you hate it,
yeah.
you're not going to stick with it. It's not going to be as good of a plan.
Yeah, I tell people, man, like for me, like I've never been the kind of dude, and again, this is just me, who like goes in the gym with a notebook and writes every rep and set. I just go in there, man. I'm just trying to like thank God that he even lets me do this, and just to jam to the music and enjoy what I have. I got the dogs with me now, in the gym, and I don't have any plan when I go hit the weights. I just know what muscle groups I'm going to hit, and I just go to town. And I have a certain amount of sets I like to hit for each one. Other than that, man, I don't really know what even exercise I'm doing next till a minute before. I'm just kind of feeling it out, and I'm in and out, man. My training lasts no more than an hour usually, and
Okay.
I'm just going as hard as I can for that hour. You
And
know.
every time any pictures I've seen you post, all your videos I see, you looks like you stay in really good shape year round.
I appreciate that. I do try and stay close to the mark year round, man. I guess I'm terrified to to lose the six pack. It's like once everyone's like, man, you should really put on new muscle tissue, bulk up, this and that. And I'm like, for me, bulking up is like 2,800 calories a day. That to me is like,
You're
like high
pushing it.
calorie. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like pushing it because my head's crazy, man. I'm like scared to, get too far off from the mark and then have to like shred down like
Yeah.
crazy, so I try and keep tight all year round.
Listen, to me, this is the definition of bodybuilding. For some people it is competing, and for some people it isn't. And I think it's important that the audience knows, because we do talk a lot about competing and techniques for competing and water manipulation and things you take and things you do and all that stuff, and it's fine and good, but that's not the only thing bodybuilding has to be. Bodybuilding it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to make your life better. And if
Yeah.
I work as a coach, outside of, the podcasting, and I'll tell you, man, that's the number one thing I want. It's like, it makes my day when the people I'm working with are actually like having fun with life, especially like at our age. We're not getting any younger. It's like, why be
Nah, man.
miserable and suffer, do things you don't want to do? We've done enough of that in our lives.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer in practicing a life of restriction
Yeah.
and being very conscious of what we consume, whether it's media or food or,
Hmm.
sex or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean life's about suffering.
Yeah.
Restriction and suffering are two different things. So I think it's important. And bodybuilding, like you were just saying, it's a beautiful journey of learning your body. You're talking about water manipulation and all that. I shred down for, like, that picture you posted in the Instagram of
Yeah.
me. Like, I shred down for, like, as if I was competing. I did like a 6 week shred and, like, suffered as if I was going to walk up on stage. So I learned a lot about myself, man, in that time, like
You
getting
really
ready
do.
for those pictures. You learn so much about yourself. And once you know how to do it, you know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so it's pretty cool.
What was it like? No, I obviously, so you mentioned going to jail a few times. Did you
Mhm.
train when you were in there?
No, never, man.
No, no.
Well, that's not true. Back in the day, um, I've been arrested 20 times, so I've been
Oh
in
man. Yeah.
different parts of my life. When I went to state prison in California, I couldn't train. I'm a Jewish guy, and I had a lot of problems with skinheads in
Oh,
California. And I used to walk the track, man, and they used to be like groups of them by the pull-up bars. There's no weights in prison in California, but they had pull-up
okay.
bars, dip bars. They took away all the weights because the inmates were getting bigger than the guards. This was long before my time.
Yeah.
I think in the early 2000s. But so I used to look and watch, man. I used to think, man, I should be spending my time in here getting ripped, but I just couldn't be around. I couldn't afford the
Yeah.
problems, man. So I never trained. I did push-ups and burpees. We did a lot of burpees. That was really big there, in county jail and prison. A lot of burpees, but never was serious.
I gotcha. So you got
Yeah.
out, you made the decision that you're going to just completely get clean and sober and change your life. How did weights fall into that? Like where did that how did that happen?
Man, this is just how crazy God is, like how it works in my life. My sponsor, I went to an AA meeting the first day back, second day back from LA, and this guy, man, walks up to me and doesn't even ask, and he says, "I'm going to sponsor you." He saw I was sick. You know how when
Oh
you go to a
yeah.
meeting, you got to raise your hand and ask for a sponsor. He offered to sponsor me. I didn't have to ask. The first meeting I went to, and he happened to be a world champion bodybuilder,
Oh,
man.
no kidding.
And yep, and he's 75 years old now, and he taught me everything I know. He used to travel the world, winning bodybuilding shows, man, and he taught me everything I know about training. Between him and my brother who compete, so God just kind of worked it out for me that to go and get into the bodybuilding lifestyle.
That's cool. Yeah, there's so
Yeah.
much I learned. I mean, I didn't use nonstop my whole life, but I would go through phases where I would use, and when I did, each time I'd pick up, it would get worse, and I'd
Oh yeah.
basically, hit a rock bottom, lose everything I had, and then say I'm sorry and try to put it back together and rebuild it, and then do it again a couple of years later. I'd go out for these periods of time, and I feel like I never really accomplished a lot. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I never really achieved things. I wasn't somebody that saw things through. I had big ideas that just didn't get completed. And through getting clean, I've been able to actually complete stuff. And one of the first things I was able to complete was a bodybuilding show. And it took me, I don't know,
Wow.
I didn't do it right away. In fact, when I got clean, I stopped lifting for 6 months because it had been such a negative thing previous to that, because like I said, I'd been using or I'd been not using, but not in recovery and just weight knuckling it and lifting. So I relapsed after I hurt my back. And then finally, when I got clean, I was like, I'm not going to lift at all for now. It took me like 6 months and I finally started lifting a little. And finally, it was like 2 or 3 years later is when I did compete. And to me, it
That's
was like,
amazing.
holy crap, I could achieve something. Or like you look
It's
at
a
your
high,
physique.
huh? It's a
Yeah.
nice high, huh?
Yeah, you can look in the mirror and be like, dude, Ari, I've completed so much now. Just like looking at the physique you've built, and that teaches you lessons that you can take into other areas of your life too, which I think is such a valuable tool. Like a lot of guys, I think they learned that in high school. I didn't learn that. And you know what I mean? I didn't learn those lessons about lifting until I was older.
It's funny you say that because I was just thinking about relating with you. It's dangerous for us because we pick up, like for me, I don't want to say we, like I'm like the king of picking up stuff and not following through.
Yeah.
Like when I got sober, I like went out and bought an acoustic guitar and I'm like, I'm going to learn to play guitar. Man, that thing sat there picking dust up. I didn't spend more than 30 minutes trying to learn that dang guitar, man. So that's why this channel has been something that's such a light to my life because it's like one of the first things I really said I'm going to do and
Yeah.
followed through with and like watched it built like something I created.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of the first things that I really, I guess, besides building a decent physique or whatever, but like this has been a real project that I made it, and it's been a just a wonderful high, man. A really
It's a
great
lot of work
feeling.
too. Like people don't know how many videos do you put out a week?
Every day, man.
Every day? I didn't realize you did everyday videos.
Every day, man. I got 1.2 thousand videos, man, in 3 years. Yeah, every day now.
How do you,
Yeah,
so what does that look like for you? Like recording? Do you pick a day and knock out like 7 ideas or what do you do?
man. I'm so like, no, I just kind of like decide the night before. I'm
Okay.
like, if there's like a hot pre-workout out, like I want to really be kind of quick to review that one because it's got some
Yeah.
hype and stuff. So it's like I'm going to put that, even if 10 things have been sitting there for 2 months, that's going to go to the front of the line. So it's like whatever's really I'm feeling in the moment. I usually I get up, I pump iron in the morning or the afternoon or whatever, and then right after I train, I'm like high, I'm fired up from the iron pumping, the pre-workout. And I'm like, I'm going to record this review now. So I'll spend the last 10 minutes after I train just fired up recording my content and then, edit and throw it on for the next day.
No
You know,
kidding. So you're just going
yeah.
back to back to back. It's part of your day basically every day.
It's part of my day, but I don't want it to be like that. Like I want to I want to do like 3 days a week or something.
Okay.
It's just these companies will not stop sending me supplements, which it's a good problem,
Right, right.
but I never get to use the stuff I love. And I'd
Oh,
rather make quality content than just like spit out videos every day just because. So I would like to back down and be a little
yeah.
more picky about the supplements I review and make more content that comes from here. Content I really like, stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about this stuff on my channel all day than the hottest pre-workout.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
all day. This is what important to me.
You got some courage, by the way, because I just started thinking about it. I'm terrified to try a new pre-workout. I find what I like and I stick with it. I'm terrified to take something and it's got yohimbine in it, and then I feel like trash for the next 6 hours. And have you had any like absolute tragic experiences where you're like, oh my God, I
Yes.
wish I never took that?
I've had a few horrible
I bet.
pre-workout experiences. Yeah, I put out a review for Pollen Nutrition, put out Assassin 6.5. Me and
Okay.
my brother and my boy sat there for 8 hours like it was a bad drug experience waiting for
Oh
it to wear
God.
off. And it was the alpha yohimbine that just
Oh,
destroyed me.
yeah.
And it was a horrible experience and just terrible. And I've had some bad like come downs from DMHA products and stuff where I just felt kind of cracked out, did not want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
There was a hot pre workout going around called Excelsior. I don't know
Okay.
if you've heard of that one.
No.
And kind of like a bathtub made trash pre workout. This was before I really learned that I need to really start being picky about what I'm going to ingest.
Hmm.
And because I'm not really just willing anymore. If you're not a reputable manufacturer making the stuff properly, and I don't know
Yeah.
where it's coming from, I'm not ingesting it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You
So
never know what some of those people are putting in
heck
things.
no,
Now,
no.
do you have issues out of curiosity with yohimbine in general, or was it just that one time? with the alpha
No,
yohimbine?
it's grown on me, man. I love it
Okay.
now.
Okay.
I love that ingredient now. It gives me, it's just a great, at the right dose,
Yeah.
you know, it's a very effective stimulant. It's just
Yeah.
it's a really, to me, it's one of those things that just you either people love it or hate it, and I happen to really like it now. A lot of people hate it. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I'm not a fan
yeah,
of yohimbine. I used to
yeah,
tolerate it better as a kid, but I think I don't process it as well anymore. It does.
yeah.
It leads me to the question though, with recovery and abstinence of mind and mood altering drugs. How does that fit into like stimulant based pre workouts and stuff like that? Because by the way, I'm not saying that in a way of judgment. I do think people will ask, and I'm curious
You know,
because
I've been asked that. It's a
okay,
very valid question. I think as someone who's in recovery, I have to be extremely on guard that I don't abuse pre-workouts, right? I have to
yeah,
really be on top. I have rules I set for myself.
okay,
And I made a whole video about it was just a few months ago, man. It got really good views for my channel, and it's called 10 Ways If You're Abusing Pre-Workouts. And these are like all
ah,
things that I want. Like I make sure, like I created this very special holiday for me called High Stim Saturday, and it's basically like the day a week where you can use your DMHA pre workout or whatever, guilt free. And, it's like, so it was created. So the rest of the week, I'm practicing restriction and maybe just not using crazy high stim products as much,
okay,
so I could save it for High Stim Saturday, and
yeah,
enjoy a workout with my brother. And so I'm really, and then like, if I'm allow myself a stimulant once a day, meaning I'm not allowed to do a afternoon cup of coffee or
okay,
energy drink or pick me up. I do one stimulant and it has to go towards training. My
yeah,
pre-workout or fat burner. Other than that, man, I don't take any stimulant unless it's going toward a workout. So I'm very on top of that with me because I know how crazy and tricky this head is, man. And
yeah.
once you start breaking down rules and stuff, you off to the dang races.
Yeah. And I've seen so
Yeah.
many people. I remember one guy that I knew in the program who was drinking Monster Energy drinks. And he drank so many of them that the potassium was messing with his heart and he had to go to the hospital. Turned out he was drinking like 20 a day,
It's disgusting. Yeah,
you
it's
know?
absolutely mindlessly consuming. I
Yeah.
only drink water. I mean,
Yeah.
besides my supplements, I only drink water. And I just think that it's important. It's just one of the big things I preach on my channel, man, is practicing a life of restriction takes us to higher levels. And society, man, just wants us to mindlessly consume all day,
Hmm. Yeah.
whatever it is. And I think that's how you creates weak men. I just think
Hmm.
it creates weak men to not be conscious of everything we consume, man, including what comes out of our mouth. It's important to
Yeah.
be conscious of that too.
I
Hmm.
remember one of the first things that I really stopped myself from buying, like just you get that urge just like buy shit, right? And I saw this rug that I couldn't afford. It was in, plus it was a white rug. So it's like, I'm going to ruin a white rug anyway in my house eventually, dogs and stuff like that. But this rug, it was like $400, I think. And I couldn't afford that at the time with the job I had anyway. I wouldn't want to buy a rug for $400. I just don't see myself doing that. That's me. Anyway, I didn't buy this rug, man. And I like put my foot down. I'm like, no. I realized, you know what it was, man? I had this vision in my head, like, oh, this is gonna make me happy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
buy this thing, it's gonna make me happy. And I just picture it in my living room. And, maybe I invite a girl over and she sees the rug. And I had this whole thing playing in my head about how awesome this rug is gonna be. And in reality, like my job couldn't afford this rug, number one. And number two, if I did get it, like 3 months down the road, it'd probably have something spilled on it and look like crap. I would be the exact same person I was before. That just came to me when you're talking about the consumerism that we
Uh-huh.
are kind of trained to fall into.
it's funny because I think there's two sides. I think that's very good to be conscious. Like, this isn't going to make me happy, this is
Yeah.
wrong. And at the same time, I also think my sponsor told me, he goes, money's in the head. It's not in the heart. If you want something, you buy it. You're never going to spend too much on yourself. So, it's like
Yeah.
you're an addict, alcoholic. You have a bad disease and you cannot afford to be thinking about money and getting in your head. He's like, so if you, because I used to complain to him about how much supplements cost.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
if you want something, you buy it. You ain't going to spend too much on yourself.
Well, I
So
can see it applying there.
every time I get in my head about this is too expensive. This is, I'm like, think about what he said. I'm like, I'm just going to buy it,
Yeah.
because as long as I got my, like my life in order and stuff. But no, I totally get what you're saying. I used to go through Somerset Mall and like cash out like I was a hoodlum on a bunch of Gucci and garbage that was the stupidest, most impulsive stuff ever. And that's just not who I am anymore.
Yeah. I've got one more recovery question for you. And this is one where I
Yeah,
think we're going to differ on, but I think we will have middle ground. And I know I respect your side of things, but I know
sure.
anybody who's genuinely curious about the 12-step programs, we got to talk God. Because I don't think my God is your God. I call it my higher power. I don't have the beliefs you do. You mentioned God a couple times, and I totally respect that. What about if somebody comes to you and they're like, "Man, I really want this, but I don't believe in that God." Does that mean I can't have this program?
Well, no, man. Like, to me, I think that there has to be willingness. I think there has to be willingness. And the beautiful thing about spirituality is that we can come up with our own concept of God.
Yeah.
I think that, to me, God, when I use the word God, I think it's just because I've been sober so many years now. Not so many, like 100, but
Yeah, yeah, I
I'm
know what you
used
mean.
to. I don't shy away from using the word because I'm used to saying it, but it means like following my heart.
Okay.
Staying out of my
Okay.
head. There's a power. There's something that
Okay.
I know that has brought me this far. I mean, I
I'm
just
with you
know it.
then.
Whatever it is, there's something
Yeah.
that I feel, that's brought me all this way, man, through heroin addiction and through this YouTube channel to this interview with you. There's something there, man, that I can't take credit for. I just
Yeah.
know that. So I think that, I just go by the book, man. It's in the book. It says, the big book, that you come up with your own concept of God.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
believe that people say, oh, the light bulb or the lamp. I mean, the
Yeah.
lamp's not going to solve my alcohol problem for me. But whatever concept you want to come up with, man, that you want to call your higher power, that's good with me. I mean, as long as you're following these steps from the heart, and that you're putting your heart and soul and living them, then it doesn't have to be the God that I picture, you
Yeah.
know.
My
hmm
first concept because I kept myself out of 12 step for a long time because I was
hmm
like, oh, well, I don't believe in God. This isn't for me. And I've had other people that have said the same thing. And I know if there's anybody struggling that's watching this now, I'm always sensitive to address that. You know what I mean? Because they hear the word God and they're out. They're like, oh, no, this program's not for me. You know what I mean? But my first higher power was this, me and you. Me and you talking
Right.
right now is a power greater than myself. If I were struggling and I can unload that burden by having a conversation with you and it makes me feel a little bit better, that's something I couldn't have done on my own. So that's a power greater than myself.
Right. Yeah. Like, look, man, just think about if you're a real addict or alcoholic, which I assume you are. You said you are, right? You believe
Absolutely.
you're the real deal. There's
There's no
something
question in
that's
my mind.
there. There's some power. You think about how crazy it was, where that obsession was just like taking over.
Yeah.
There's something that's lifted that from us. There's something, and it wasn't me because I couldn't have done that. Whatever it is, whatever higher power, God, this, that, higher power, whatever we want to call it. There's some reason I don't have that obsession anymore. There's something that's lifted it, and I can't take credit for it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you fielding that one with me, man. I have
Yeah.
I've got a couple questions here too. I asked the people if they had anything they wanted to throw in, and I actually
Okay.
got a few things here that were pretty good. I'm going to start with this one. And this guy DM'd me because his message was too long to put in my comment box that I put up on Instagram. He said, um, I thought I'd add a reply about the story from Garage Gym Homie. Could you talk about dealing with feeling guilty for doing well in recovery? I'm currently studying to become a youth counselor, and I often feel like I don't deserve to be where I am because I used to do drugs and was involved in some criminal stuff. It's like I'm trying to hide my past because I'm afraid people will look at me differently, even though what I did doesn't really matter since I'm doing my job just fine now, and my coworkers and kids and all the community center like me. See, I think he had one other thing. He says, I do feel like it's getting better. I'm actually, I enjoy that I feel that I'm contributing to society and the well-being of others, but I still find myself going down the path of thinking something isn't going the way I'd want because of my actions. I'm looking into different therapies, etc. It's possibly the best way to move forward at the moment. He says, I don't really enjoy going to NA groups in the area because the people are some of my old customers.
That's interesting. So he feels. I think that's. I mean, in a way, it's kind of a humble approach to take, saying that I have this. Look at where I am. I don't really deserve this. I can kind of relate to
Yeah.
that. It's like, when I think about all the dirt I did and how I treated people and the way that, I acted absolutely disgusting and I cringe, and Facebook memories come up from like 13 years ago. And I was like whoring around and acting like a freaking maniac. It's like, I'm like, man, I don't deserve this. Is surreal, man. I have my own home, like the
Yeah.
where life is. It's very surreal. I think that I don't know, man. I think this guy, if he's listening, man, you deserve all the gifts in life, man. You're putting your heart into helping people and doing better, and you deserve every single gift that comes your way, even if you think you don't, man. I promise you. You know, making amends is not about just saying sorry to people, man. Making amends is about changing our behavior. So when you make amends to someone and you go out and you apologize for the way you acted, the first thing you got to do is stop acting that way. It's like that's the way to make amends, to amend something. So, this person listening, you're making amends, by changing who you are. That's the real amends right there. That's how you help other people. The best way to help people is to lead by example
Hmm.
always, to demonstrate through you, like how powerful your sobriety is, so if you're out here helping people, man, you got to be not feel you don't deserve it, but be thankful for your past, man, and what you've been through because it's molded you into who you are today. And you wouldn't be where you're at right now, helping others and doing what you're doing if it weren't for what you've gone through.
Yeah.
So I just think you need to follow your heart, man. I think you're living in your head, and the head is telling you that's not your heart, man. Your head is noisy, telling you don't deserve it and all this and that. It doesn't want you, to enjoy what you have, man. It wants to take you down,
Yeah.
So I would spend more time listening, listening and sitting still and just being thankful. That's me though. I mean, I just think that our heads are noisy, man, and we got to watch for that noise and know the difference between this and this. You know, what
Yeah.
do you think?
I feel like I could see myself in that same position. And if I let it get bad enough, I could see it make like taking me back out. You know what I mean? You can, I was fantastic for, self-destruction, and telling myself that I'm not worth, like, I never got any tattoos, but if I ever did, I wanted to get the tattoo that just said "Born to Lose" on it because I genuinely felt like I was born to freaking lose, you know. And
Yeah.
I could see myself talking myself out of a good life, you know. Like, no, I don't
Hmm.
deserve this. I'm not a good enough person. This is what I deserve. You know, I deserve to be punished, basically, and then just end up back to, you know, where I was. I
Yeah.
I am curious about the like not wanting to go to meetings thing. I just wonder, you know, what it is, and no judgment on them because there was a long time I didn't want to go to them, and I'm not saying that meetings are the only way. Like it worked for me, you know, but I would just wonder because he said like he doesn't have, or he's like I've got some of my former customers are there. At least he thinks they are, you know. I don't know. I mean, could he make amends to them? You know, be able to go to a meeting still and you know be able to
Well, that's why I say that it sounds like he's living in his head, you know, and his
yeah
head's noisy, and that's not, you know, living in the heart. And you know, as far as meetings go, I never believe meetings are the answer. I think they play a nice role in, you know, giving you an opportunity to be there to be helpful to people, and it lets you talk about the steps or you know what's worked for you, and then you know the goal is to help other people, but you know, he doesn't have to go to meetings if he doesn't
yeah.
want, but if you want to help other people, then it's a good avenue to find sick people to, you know, offer yourself to. I
I
think
like the
that's,
way you
I go to
put that.
one, yeah, I go to one meeting a week and it's on Zoom and there's people all over the country and it's really beautiful. And, but I just think that higher power, God is going to guide us all individually.
Yeah.
This person might go to 5 meetings a week. This person might go to one meeting a week. You know, like everyone's kind of guided differently on what the right thing for them is.
You know, I still haven't tried any Zoom meetings. I still
Hmm.
haven't done that.
Yeah.
I
You should
feel
come
like
to ours.
I'd like to check it out. I'd like to
You'd
check it.
love it,
I've
man.
always done the other fellowship.
Uh huh.
So I connected to them more, but
Oh,
yeah, I'd like to check it out. I mean, I could
okay.
go to either of them, you know. Let me see what else we
Yeah,
got here. I know we had a couple more things.
sure.
Um, let's see. We had a couple short ones here. Oh, just a comment here. Guy says, I used to suffer from an eating disorder. I know you two had bad addictions, but you both have helped me get through those times. That's pretty cool, man. You know, to know that we could reach out and actually, like, hopefully, right now, somebody's listening that needs this, you know?
That's all it's about, man. That's the best. That's the best part of all of this, man. What a great use of technology, right? I
Right?
mean, what an incredible. There's evil uses of technology. This is an incredibly good use of technology. You know,
All right. How about this one from one of your listeners or viewers? He says, favorite pre workout, favorite intra workout, and favorite sleep slash relaxation ingredient slash supplements. It's a lot to lay on
okay.
you.
Well, my favorite pre-workout is Dark Labs Crack Gold, man. That's like the ultimate to me. Dark. Are you familiar with Dark Labs?
I haven't used them in a long time, but I have in the past. No, wait,
Yeah,
I'm thinking of something else. I was thinking of dark matter, which is a carb
Dark
from a
Labs is a
decade
company
ago.
they're out of Poland, man, and they're one of the few companies that still have all the good stuff. And that Dark Labs Crack Gold is just a mind blowing, amazing pre workout. Um, that's one of those high stim Saturday pre workouts.
Okay.
Yeah. The intra workout, I'm a big fan. There's a company, Extremist Cartel, which used to be ASC. They have one called Bomba that just came out. It's just a loaded pre workout, intra workout, excuse me. And I really like it because it doesn't have any of those like intra workout carbs. I know
Oh, yeah.
you're familiar with those. I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of those. To me, like it's like kind of extras, you know. It doesn't really fit in. If I'm trying to keep my carbs tighter, I don't like to
Yeah.
blow, you know, 100 grams on an intra workout, you know.
Right.
So I like a nice light intra workout, and this one is just fire, loaded as heck. It's got you know all the good stuff, plus a lot of hydration ingredients. Extremist Cartel Bamba, and then the what was the last one? Oh, sleep supplement ingredient.
Yeah.
Ninja Supps, Ninja Zen, that one's killer, or high tech Pharmaceuticals, Somatomax. These are like once a week hitters because
Okay.
they got the phenibut in it. So
Oh yeah.
you don't want to overdo it. You know, it'll help you relax and stuff, but no more than really once a week. You
Yeah, I'll
know,
take that once in a while. And if I need
yeah,
it, like I'm just like I really need it, I'll get some incredible sleep. But I have heard stories of people that they have issues if they're using
they
it.
get hooked on it,
Yeah,
they get
constantly.
relying on it, all that, and crazy people. The one thing I've learned from my dang channel of supplement,
Yeah.
people abuse the heck out of these things, man.
Yeah.
They do not take them as their spot. They just overdo it. They take these pre-workouts that I wouldn't touch more than once a week, and they take them as a dang daily.
Yeah.
I can't believe they still feel some of this stuff anymore, man. They overdo it like crazy. So it's like a lot of crackheads out here, man, abusing these pre-workouts and sleep supplements and stuff. So I
Where do you
make sure
think
to talk about that.
where do you think the supplements are heading? Like what are we seeing like how could I put it, like a trend on on the front of intra workouts especially, or excuse me, pre-workouts especially? Like where are things going with them nowadays?
More and more companies are now reformulating to get out. I mean, less and less ingredients are
Uh
being tolerated in the industry. At one point there was the wave where everything was DMAA was the popular thing, Jack 3D, all that. That's done. There's only one company out using DMAA still. And now, then it turned into DMHA, if you're familiar with the
yes.
ingredient, 2-amino isoheptane, DMHA. They're all reformulating now to get rid of
Really?
that.
Really?
All of them, every
Huh.
one of them. I'm telling you, in the last like 2 months. I mean, this is
Oh
all
wow.
brand new. The manufacturers will not mess with it anymore.
Really?
The rumor is High Tech Pharmaceuticals is sending out letters to everybody threatening to sue them. They're the only ones in the industry allowed to use DMHA because they have a hold on it because they're in a lawsuit with the government, the FDA, and so everyone's getting spooked, and more and more companies just little ingredients, hygienic, little stimulants, isopropyl synephrine, they're all being banned, and all the
Huh.
companies are having to reformulate. So pre-workouts are not getting crazier and crazier; they're getting less crazy. Maybe more higher caffeine content, this and
Yeah.
that, but the illicit ingredients are being toned down more and more.
Dude, did you ever take that original craze? Were you around then?
I'm No, that was before. I didn't get into any pre-workouts until I started the channel three
Oh, you're
years
kidding me.
ago. Yeah, this is all new to me in the last
Okay.
3 years.
Yeah.
No, but I'm very familiar with it, and I know it was spiked with something crazy.
Yeah.
My
I
viewers always bring up craze.
That was the one thing I took because I remember I was dating a girl who worked on a midnight shift, and I remember I'd train at like 4:30, and then I'd go home, do my thing, shower and stuff, and on her day off she'd come over at like 8 at night, and then we're starting the night basically. And I remember her coming over, and I just started like just blah 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 blah, talking. So I'm like, wait a second, I still feel like I'm on my pre-workout right now. Like there was something to that. There's no question. I took
I
part in
heard that
that.
was like the best. I heard that was the best. Yeah. People have a lot of nostalgia for
Do
these
they?
old pre-workouts they can't get anymore. Yeah.
No kidding.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed the original Jacked, man, the Jack 3D or whatever you want to
I
call it.
never
That
got to
was
try it. Never got
yeah,
to try it. Yeah, I heard it was amazing.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I never went
Yeah.
past like one scoop with any pre-workout though. That's one of the, like you said, you have like things you do. I've never gone past it, and I don't really use that much of it nowadays at all. Maybe I'll use like a
Yeah.
half a scoop of something. I do have some DMA in the cupboard, but it's literally just sat there for like it's probably not made anymore, is my guess from what the sounds you're saying. So it was like a
Yeah.
year old.
Yes. So you've never really been into the like stim junkie pre-workout kind of thing.
Not a ton. I mean, when I was competing, I did like
Yeah.
DMA, but that was, that was a while ago, and I did use it fairly consistently, but I never went crazy with it. I hear people that are taking like 2, 3 scoops of this stuff, which that blows my mind, man.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know how you
just put
sleep.
everything on the scale and go exactly by the serving size with
Okay.
everything. I don't do fat scoops or
Yeah.
loaded or do two scoop. I don't do any of that because I don't want my tolerance to be crazy, man. I'm a supplement reviewer, so for me, it's important to keep my tolerance
Yeah.
down so I feel these things.
Yeah, no
I don't
kidding.
want to
Nothing works
burn my
anymore.
brain out. And I take stim breaks every few months. I
Do you?
go, yeah, oh yeah, and I don't do any caffeine, nothing. I do a reset, and I just want to make sure that I'm really practicing restriction because I like to feel this stuff. When I take it, I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
Hmm.
I think that's all I got for you. Is
Yeah,
there anything else we should talk about? Anything we didn't cover that you want to mention or anything
we
besides talk
covered
about
a
the
lot,
channel?
man.
Yeah.
No, how long has your channel been up?
We've been up. So I've been podcasting since 2015, and then I
Hmm.
rebranded to Think Big in 2019. So, and I know I found you, I guess it was a couple years because you started it after 2020, you said, right?
Yeah, I've
So,
been. This September was 3 years, I guess. So whenever, yeah.
okay.
Uh huh.
Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on hitting that 3 year mark, man.
Thank you.
It's a lot of work, but yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. This channel though,
I see.
we've been
You have
at
a
it
big
for
channel. I mean, it's great.
I'm putting a lot into it, man, but I got to tell you, I'm not doing everyday videos like you are, but we're doing long ones like this.
Well, this is yeah. I want to, as I said, man. I'd love to back down to three. How many days a week? A couple or three?
Oh no, I'm doing something every day still because
Oh, you are.
yeah, I put one out this morning and I had to edit that one yesterday, but yesterday I recorded another one for next Monday. And then, it's a constant shuffle. It's a constant shuffle. I
Are
usually
you?
usually take all of Thursday and all of Sunday off for the most part. But those days I'm still like handling comments and all that. You know what I mean?
Wow. Are you seeing the growth that you want out of the channel?
It's hard to say, considering I'm a nobody, like, it's not like I'm a retired pro or something. That I'm just a coach, I'm a guy who has a passion for it. And I was like like as a competitive bodybuilder, I would be, if you were going to be in my class, then there was going to be a chance that you'd be going up against me, that like I'd give you trouble. You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
I was never a pro bodybuilder. So there's a guy, I don't know if you know Fuad Abiyad. I mean, dude is incredible. He was a fantastic pro, and now his channel is he's like through the roof, but it makes sense, right? So I can't compare
Yeah.
myself to a guy like Fuad. I'm just doing my own thing, and I couldn't
That's
be.
great.
I would love to see it grow faster, but the reality is, man, like I'm just grateful to do it. You know what I mean? If we can
I'm
have,
totally with
you
you.
know, dude, if I could have
Yeah.
100 people that literally watch this entire thing and listen to us talk for an entire hour or whatever this is, like that's a lot of people. 100
It's
people, you know what I
amazing.
mean? So, and we'll definitely get a lot more
Exactly.
than that.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, congrats on your endeavors, man. That's awesome. I'm going to watch a lot more of your content, and since you reached out, I want to watch a lot of it, and I'm happy for you, man. You're doing good work.
Uh,
So,
I appreciate
congrats,
it, man.
and
And
your personal life, man. Congrats on the recovery and everything.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you too,
Hmm.
man. 10 years is, I mean, dude, I remember when thinking 6 months was a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. I
That is
mean,
true. That is
it is
true.
a
I shouldn't
lot,
say it
man.
that way, but
No, it's
yeah.
freaking. I mean, you got 2 days. Someone who has one day wants to know how that guy got 2 days.
Yeah.
It's like,
I couldn't have
yeah,
fathomed 6 months at one point.
it's crazy, man. I know. I don't know where the time goes, man. But we are so blessed, man. We are so lucky.
All right. Well, listen,
Yeah.
I'm going to have links below. Of course, anybody who's not following you can go over and follow you. And that gives them something to watch every day. Your videos aren't super, super long, right? What's the average length on your videos nowadays?
10, 12 minutes. 10, 12
Perfect.
minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. So you can get that done, like doing something else. You can watch Garage Gym Homie literally every day. That's awesome, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
My pleasure, guys. For another episode here at Think Big Bodybuilding Media, I'm Scott McNally hanging out with Garage Gym Homie. And literally, this is the first time we met. This is like an introduction on the podcast. Hope you guys appreciated that.